Hi everyone. Once again, thank you so much for asking the question. This is the second graph that I do for distance learning math tutorial request form. So the question was on graphing. How do you show the work on graphing on the math tutorial? So the question that I selected, the second question was on the module 8, Are You Ready? And now I'm doing number 7. So number 7 is right here, y equals negative x. And so what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to go to the section was module 8, Are You Ready? Just abbreviate. And then number 7, question number 7. Okay, and it said graph the equation y equals, was it negative x? I think negative x. Okay, so y equals negative x. So this is where your question is, I guess. Oh, the question should be, how do you graph? Let me fix that. How do you graph? How do you graph? How do you graph the equation y equals negative x? So right here, this is where you're going to show the work, okay? And so in order to graph, what I do is I go to insert and I say drawing plus. So it's going to take me to the drawings right here. And so what I'm going to do is I need to save my graph paper. I need to have graph paper right there. So I'm going to go back to my problem right here. And I did this on the other example, but I'm going to go ahead and explain it again. So I go to my snipping tool, and on my snipping tool, I go to the new. If you guys have, I guess, screenshot, you can screen it and then cut the picture or something. So it'll be right there. Then I go to file. Save as, and I'm going to save it as a graph and save it right there. Already exists, yes, because I did it for the other one, but anyways, right there is the graph. So now I am going to upload that picture right here, the image. I go to the image and I'm going to upload, but once again, you can take a snapshot or you can just get the URL, or you're in your Google Drive, whatever works for you. So I'm going to go to choose an image, and it's right there on the graph. So open. So here is my graph now. I can show it right there. So now, once again, the equation, I'm going to put a text box so that you can see the equation. The equation was y equals the opposite of x, or negative x. So this throws people off because they don't see any numbers. Okay, so remember, the slope is in y-intercept, slope-intercept form. So it's y equals mx plus b. The slope is the number that is next to the x, and the y-intercept is whatever you're adding to the x. Well, you're not adding anything, so that means it's like plus 0. So my y-intercept is going to be 0. Here, what is that number? There's no number right there. When there's no number right there, that means it's 1. So right here, the slope is negative 1. Okay, so the y-intercept is 0 and the slope is negative 1. As a fraction, it would be negative 1 divided by 1. Negative 1 out of 1. So right here, the y-intercept is 0. So that means that the line is going to intercept the y-axis at 0 right there. And the slope is negative 1 over 1. I could either rise 1, but because it's negative, I go to the left. I can also go, instead of rising up, I go down 1, but then I have to go to the right. So my line is going to be a line going through like this right here. Okay, so now I can click right here and select a line. I'm going to do this line. I'm going to start, I'll start right here, and then, well, no, I should start right here. So from here, the y-intercept is 0. Rise 1 over 1, rise 1 over 1, rise 1 over 1. I can make as many as I want to, but my line is going to be right there. So it continues forever and ever. But if you have this, that's fine. Okay, so now I go to save and close. And so now I have the graph right there. And then over here, we do, we write down the steps. So what did we do first is we graphed the equation, we wrote the equation in slope-intercept form. Okay, we wrote the equation in slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 1x plus 0. So the intercept, the y-intercept was 0, and I misspelled it. Y-intercept, make sure that you spell, okay, correct. The y-intercept was 0, and the slope was -1 divided by 1. Okay, so those were the steps, and then we just graph the line. Thank you so much once again for asking the question, okay?